Good morning, AMP platform team members. I am on a call with Mark D. Hutchison, the Ask Mark Realtor. I am the Doctor of Real Estate. And welcome to AMP Easy Action Step number 6. This is going to be a little bit of a different flow today. We really want you to understand and study this particular AMP Easy Action Step. This one is closing. And we've broken it down into 3 categories: closing prep for your clients, your behavior at closing, and then post-closing. Mark, is that a good theme for you and I today, you think?
I think this is excellent. We talk about this all the time, and it's nice that we're doing a video to help our wonderful teammates.
Well, I couldn't agree more. So I'm going to play some parts of a song. I hope it comes through on the video. We'll try to be real quiet. I just like this song. So here we go.
Going I'm a chicken fried and cold beer on a Friday night, a pair of jeans that fit just right, and the radio.
Zac Brown Band.
Well, I'm raised up beneath the shade of a Georgia pine, and that's home, you know, sweet tea, pecan pie, homemade wine, where the peaches grow, and my 6 numbers to talk about.
I wanted to end on that part. I hope that comes through. That's the Zac Brown Band. Okay. So, Mark, let's discuss your closing prep with your clients and the steps that you ensure that they are prepared for as it relates to closing. Go.
Okay, this is really pretty mundane, I think. You know, I always tell them driver's license. Have to have a copy of your driver's license or passport.
Unexpired driver's license.
Yes, also unexpired passport. So, and I always tell them the story why that's now required. So then I asked him, I said, sometimes on some title companies will send you documents to sign electronically before closing. So if you get that, you need to call me so that I know and we can walk through those together, because that's the only way you're going to have that part explained to you. So please call me whenever you get anything from the title company.
And also, Mark, we want to let them know they don't have to sign those documents at that point. They just have to acknowledge that they received them. That is correct. We confirmed that with the title people the other day.
Okay, that's fine. It's normally I have them sign it in advance. That just saves them time. And normally they're documents that's not sophisticated or require a lot of explanation. We also talk about wiring the money. If we're the buyer, make sure the money gets wired on time, and work with your bank to get the wiring instructions there. So we just try to go through the process and make it non-threatening, not a hostile environment, just to explain step by step and go through it slowly, so that, because they don't, how many people go through a closing in their life? Some people never, some people 1, some people 20, but I just want to relax them to in the prep work. I said, look, it's not going to take a long time. The closer that I have that I'm bringing here to the closing will explain everything backwards and forwards. Even if she has to do it 7 times, she'll be there so that you understand exactly what's going on.
So let me explain what I think I just heard you say. You prepare them for the documents that they're going to receive electronically. You let them know that they're going to receive wiring instructions from the title company. And in addition, when they receive those wiring instructions, you let them know to call the title person who sent them to ensure they came from them, so we don't have any wire fraud.
Right.
You and I both recommend that our clients wire their money the day before closing, not the morning of closing.
Right.
We also make sure they bring their unexpired driver's license or unexpired passport. We ensure prior to going into closing that we have provided them with all the utility company names so they can switch those over into their name on the date of possession. We leave it to the seller's agent to make sure that the seller has called to ask for final readings. And we also have a discussion prior to closing about how we're going to exchange the key. If possession is a closing, our expectation is we've had a discussion with the other agent that either we at our final walkthrough are going to have their copy of the key, and all other keys and remotes will be instructed to the selling agent to be left in the kitchen. Or if we have a later possession date, we can have a discussion on how to get that key transferred over. So we've got key, utilities, wiring instructions, documents that are coming to you, unexpired driver's license or passport. And prior to going into closing, Mark and I also talk to our clients about this. Guys, you can be in a closing for 45 minutes or 2 hours. Depends upon whether or not your client is a reader. If there's trust built up and you explain that the title agent that's there is somebody that you trust, that is simply there to execute documents and notarize them, they don't represent the seller or the buyer, that they're doing everything to conform to the law, and they explain each document as we are going to require them to do so, and you understand the document, you can initial and or sign or fill out as the title agent instructs. If you're a reader, then you can read it. And that's the difference between 45 minutes and 2 hours. If you read all the documents, it's 2 hours. If you're a signer and an initialer, it's 45 minutes. And Mark and I make it clear, we don't care how long we're there for you. So that's kind of the prep piece of getting your client ready for closing. Mark, anything to add to that before we go on to closing?
When you mention utilities, right after I'm in contract, I send everything within a week to like contact information to the lender, to the title company. I send the utility stuff to my client. I'm doing that well in advance so that, number one, I don't wait till the end. Because sometimes you have a client that's ahead of you and they're asking for all this information. I just do it in that first week. The other two things in prep is this is not a time to be a jokester. We had an occasion where when the closer said, "Are you signing this or you own free will?" And they said, "Oh, you mean like someone's holding a gun to my head?" The closer folded up everything and walked out, and we closed the next day. So this is not the time to be a jokester. And
well, so you're transitioning into at closing. So let's transition then, because that's an at closing behavior. So
that's right.
That's okay.
So I tell them in advance.
I understand. So at closing, Mark and I make it clear, and then he'll take over, that we're there to answer questions and be of assistance. Our phones are off. We're attentive. We've offered coffee. So as you're arriving at the closing company, and you should get there before your clients or with them and bring them in, I sometimes offer to take everybody's driver's license and make those copies for the title agent. They appreciate that. If not, collect those and hand them to the title agent if they want to make their own copies. But you're there at closing to answer questions, your phone's off, you're attentive, and you're kind of off to the side, making sure that everything's going well. Can you add anything to our behavior at closing and what you look for at closing, Mark?
Don't have your iPhone out and play word games or anything during the closing. You want to be attentive. You want to listen. Because sometimes the closer, they go over things sort of lightly, and I make a note of that so I can cover it again with my client. Sometimes they don't explain that in Ohio, we pay taxes in arrears, and especially if we got the buyer. I had a case where we sold a condo, we had a closing, and within a week, the new owner got a tax bill from the Franklin County Auditor's Office. And I called the agent up immediately because my client was still living there for another couple of weeks. I wanted to make sure that she had reiterated to her client that there was going to be a tax bill for 6 months. She goes, "Yeah, I took care of it. It's all clear." But some people, they don't hear that at the closing, even though the title person goes over it. It's just missed. So that's one of the things I rehash after the closer is finished. And also is I love the amortization chart, because then you can see if you pay an extra like $250, you can see that it takes a month off that 360 months your mortgage is going. So you just offer things after. I try not to interrupt the closer. I make notes and cover things afterwards for the most part.
So what Mark and I like to do is pay attention to particular things during the closing. One, I always ask my client when the title agent hands over the document that describes their interest rate, and it's on more than one document. The first document they hand over is going to have their interest rate on it. I simply ask, is that the interest rate you discussed with the lender? Make sure the answer is yes, that's the one. I, like Mark, like to make sure that we emphasize their understanding of tax proration. I, like Mark, actually ask the title agent if I can have the closing room for about 5 minutes after closing, and I will demo that amortization chart right there with them. So get into a habit of understanding what the rule of 78 is, and Mark and I can explain it to all of you. I've explained it to many of you. And describe or disclose and explain to your client how they can pay off their home early. One extra principal payment per year will pay a home off in 22 years instead of 30. 2 extra principal payments per year will pay a home off in about 14 years. So we'd like to emphasize that. And then at the end of the closing, Mark and I both do this. We look at the title agent who's performed the closing document presentation, and we say, please send me in PDF format 2 things: a PDF fully executed ALTA and a PDF of the wire confirmation that the buyer or seller brokerage commission has been sent to my broker. That's all you need, guys, is those 2 documents. Everything else is on .loop, and then Mark and I will take you through your closing documents and make sure you get paid. So that's kind of the closing behavior in a nutshell, right? So anything else, Mark?
Yeah, I do explain probably before closing the insurance.
So your message said you want.
Sorry about that. Go ahead.
The insurance about to make sure that they don't take the money and run. I always explain that to my client in advance, so that way then they know it, and then the closer, because the closer can't say anything. Right. I can, but I tell them in advance, and then I remind them at closing.
And what Mark is referring to is called closing protection letter. It is a document written by an attorney. We are not allowed to give our clients advice. That's the unlicensed practice of law. The only statement that I've confirmed with Bill Thompson that is legal to say is that I have never had a client accept this coverage. And sometimes the title company agent will also hint at that, but neither one of us can give advice until after our clients have initialed whichever or checked whatever box they want, either accept or do not accept, and then signed it. And then we can confirm their decision. So that's closing. Okay. And then post-closing. Mark, what are your thoughts on post-closing? What is built into your business machine as a member of the AMP team platform that you stay in touch post-closing with your clients?
That's when the work really begins, because I want to nurture them. I want to be their realtor for life. So somewhere along the lines, sometimes we have a closing gift at the table. Sometimes closing gift is afterwards. Sometimes I take them out to lunch or dinner, and I always ask them what their schedule is like, and we'll go to lunch, we'll go to dinner, but I continue to stay in contact with them. I probably don't do it once a week like some of the realtors do, but I make sure that they're on all my lists. They get my videos, they've been getting the newsletter. I call them up after they've moved in to see how it went. I check to make sure that they've got the keys. Oh, the thing that we missed is if you're in a condo in a cluster mailbox situation, legally, according to the post office, they have to take the closing document to the local post office and get a new key. However, a lot of times the owner will just pass it to the new owner, and that doesn't happen. But legally, that's the process. But I always keep in touch with my client because I don't want them to think, wow, they noticed I got a commission check and now I forgot him. No, it's not. Nothing's about this. It's about the check, because I'm going to stay with them and they're going to give me referrals. and their referrals are going to far exceed whatever I received from that commission check.
Mark, that's a great point. So guys, both Mark and I have a particular process. My process is this: 3 days after they close, I either call, text, or email them and check in. A week after they close, I make sure that they remember that they either have a home warranty by contract and to have it handy, or I remind them that we're going to order a home warranty for them. And then at 30, 60, and 90 days thereafter, and in addition to that, as Mark indicated, of course, they're getting my newsletter. Of course, they're getting a birthday greeting, an anniversary greeting. They're definitely on my Facebook, and I'm still direct messaging them. But I absolutely, purposefully ask for referrals at 30, 60, and 90 days. It is the best time to do so. So post-closing, guys, we've always said it on the AMP platform. Your work starts at closing. It doesn't end there. It didn't.
Yeah, we do one more thing. They're all Facebook friends of mine. If they're on Facebook, they're friends with mine. And I look at their Facebook page because whenever they have a kid, they're going to post all these pictures about their newborn baby. Linda, my artsy fartsy person, she creates a onesie or she does something, and then I hand carry that to the front door and give it to the proud mama and proud papa. This is for your newborn.
And it's just an absolutely fantastic way, Mark, to practice back-end marketing. We're going to end with this. Remember our back-end marketing secrets. 60% of your time, pipeline and refilling. 10% of your effort or time getting somebody through a transaction. We should all be so good at it that it doesn't take a lot of effort and time. 30% of your effort and time is after somebody closes. You should and will have people calling you for years and years after they close for advice and help and assistance with their home. And one of those calls, text, or emails in the future is going to be, "It's time for us to sell. I need you to list my home because you've stayed in touch." That is closing prep, at closing, and post-closing in a nutshell. If you have any questions, you can get a hold of Mark or I. Guys, this is AMP Easy Action step number 6. Mark, anything to end with before I turn this song back on?
Just do it.
Just do it.
Talk about
So
insurance?
we got to get through this stupid ad. Sorry, but I need to end with Zach Brown Band. Come on. Quit playing.
$800.
It's 2 seconds, 1 second, and the song's back.
It's nice to talk about, but it's filled with love's grown in southern ground, and a little bit of chicken fried over here on Friday night. I'll take a chance of pictures.
Bye, guys.
And the radio.